Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on the Crochet Cables Afghan. This is a free pattern available by Yarnspirations. So what we have here is that this is a cable work that is showing this is really not hard at all. When you just break it down into the steps, you realize that there's really only a repeating of 4 rows in order to complete the whole look from top to bottom. What we have here is that it takes 9 balls of Bernat blanket yarn in order to do it. And those are the big balls. And I know what you're thinking, that's a lot of yarn, but because the yarn is crisscrossing like it is to create the cable work, it takes up more yarn to do so. Today here on camera though, I'm going to be using a 6.5mm size K crochet hook, and I'm going to be using Caron 1 pound yarn today, and you'll see what it looks like. Now because I'm substituting by using a smaller yarn, the project's going to be a lot more smaller, but I'm going to show you how to be able to change the pattern by telling you what the multiples are so that you can substitute and change the yarn and the hook and still get the same pattern. So let's go on to page number 2 and show you what's going on. So page number 2 is my most favorite because it has the crochet diagram to show you exactly what's going on here. So here's the blanket done in a cream color just like you see here, and I told you that I substituted the yarn, but I also figured out what the multiples are as well. If you would like to change the size of this one here, you have to chain in multiples of 18. So go chain 1 all the way to 18 and then keep doing 1 to 18, 1 to 18, and then when you're satisfied with the width of it, just add another 12 chains and the project will stay in balance. And that matters if you would like to change the size in order to substitute your yarn and your hook. As long as the hook and the yarn complement each other, you will be fine. So what we have here is that this here, from this point to here, is a multiple of 18, and then I figured out the other sides of those is an additional 12. I also did a sample which I'll show you in just a moment. So what you're going to notice here is that there is a total of 4 rows being repeated. So row number 2, you see that it's crisscrossing, and rows 3, 4, and 5 are just working in the posts. Very, very easy to do. And then once we get that done, then we repeat 2, 3, 4, and 5 again. So this is just showing you that it's just repeating as you see. So really only one row has the crisscrossing that you'll see, and this pattern really favors one side. So let me talk to you a little bit about that, and then I'll be right back in a moment. So here's the sample, and this is Caron 1 pound yarn today, and I used a 6.5mm size K crochet hook in order to do it. So what you're seeing here is that you can see the cable work is lifting up. It's providing that 3-dimensional look that you have. That takes more yarn in order to do so. That's why it takes 9 Bernat blanket yarns to do it. So if you want to substitute with something different, you can do something like this. So the cable pattern, let's turn it over to the back. Oh, where is it? It's not on the back. It's a one-sided project. So the nice thing about this particular idea is that there's 4 rows that repeat each other, and it's really easy to keep track of those because the crisscross only happens, and it happens when you're looking at this side of the project. So you really can't get too confused by that because you can't crisscross if you're looking at the back of the project. So that's kind of a neat thing to be able to watch for. So there are 4 rows. There's 1 crisscross row, and then there's 3 rows that use the post. But if you can pay attention to what side of the Afghan that is popping on, it is so easy to be able to maintain this pattern. It's not even funny. So without further ado, I'm going to show you another sample. We're going to do it live here on camera. I'm going to talk to you about the multiples once again, and we can do the sample together, and I'll do it the best I can. The hardest part, I'm going to tell you right now, is getting started on the very first row. That is the hardest part, and then once you get that, everything is just so simple once that, because you have to count pretty accurately right in the very beginning. But you know what, once you get beyond that, it's going to be fabulous. So let's begin now. So you have 2 choices right now. So you have Bernat blanket yarn. If you would like to do that one, just use a size 8mm L crochet hook with your Bernat blanket if you'd like to do a really nice thick heavy blanket. And I'm just using a size K 6.5mm hook with Bernat, with Caron 1 pound yarn. So you have a choice. You can just chain 102 and you'll have the same result as the project, or you can chain in multiples of 18 and then add 12 at the very end of the chain. So I'm going to do that for you here just so I can keep in balance. So you just have to go 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So that is one multiple here. So if I look at this here and I pull up this other project, this here is the crossing over of going from here to the other side right here. So that's 18. So let's continue again. Let's do another set of 18 just to prove it. So you can go in sets of 18 until you get to the size that you want. So I'm going to do another 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So that now I have 2 sets of 18. It doesn't matter how many sets I have. So what I can just do, let me just back out the camera and just show you here. So what I can just do is that if I have another project that I want to lay it out to, just lay it down and compare to something else. As long as you have your sets of 18, you're going to be good to go. Once you're satisfied with the width of that, then just add another 12. So that's your 18 plus 12. So here's your 12 now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So there you go. So now I'm going to be in balance for this project, so you can do as many multiples of 18, just add 12 at the end and you're good to go. So let's move on to row number 1, which is going to get us started. It's the only time you're going to do it like this for row number 1. So let's begin row number 1. So row number 1, we have to work across this chain. It's just a half double crochet. So count back to the 3rd chain from the hook. So 1, 2, and 3. Get the back loop only of the chain. Wrap the hook, insert into the chain, pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops, just like this. So now what I want you to do is that on the back loop, once you do the first one, they all stay upside down. So just in the back loop of the next chain, just half double crochet. And work entire chain just with half double crochets, 1 into each of the chains as you go all the way to the other side. So half double crochet yourself across, maybe at the end of this row. So I'm just coming up to the end of the chain here. Your chain will be much bigger if you're doing a real project. I'm just doing a sample, but you go right to the very end and fill in that last chain with the half double crochet. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to turn our work. So I'm going to turn it and just leave it sitting down on the table here, and I am just going to bring you back to the chart because I want to show you what we're going to do, and then it will just make it a lot easier for you today. Here's a close-up shot of the chart. So what we're going to do now is that we just finished row number 1. So we started and then we came and then we're sitting right here. So we're ready to move up to row number 2. So row number 2, we're going to chain up 2, but you can see that it doesn't count as a stitch because these half double crochets are sitting right over top of each other. If this counted as a stitch, you would just have a chain 2 here and the first stitch would be right here. So we can see that's verifying to the pattern. So what we're going to do is that we're going to work our way across, and look at this strange symbol right here. For me it's not so strange, but this is a front post double crochet. So we're going to establish our front post double crochet 2 in a row, and then we're going to work our way across, and then look at these ones. These are a treble. So we're going to wrap the hook 3 times in order to crisscross over. So we crisscross over, so we skip 4 here, crisscross over and do the next 4, and then we crisscross back and pick up the ones that we just that we skipped over. We'll cover that in the pattern as well. So there's a consistency here in the pattern that will make it easier. You will notice 4 half double crochets here, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. So that here is showing you that it's easy to remember because you got 4, 4, 4, and 4. So it's actually not a hard pattern to be able to follow. So as we could do number 2 now, this is the front side of the project. So I have here that the back was 1, 3, 5, and 7. It really doesn't matter, but I want to tell you now number 2 is the front side of the project. So now we're going to start establishing ourselves to be able to know what side that we're working on at all times. And then you will notice in the next one here, you'll see that the symbol is turned the other way. So that's a back post. It's going to make sense once you get there. So don't get confused right now, because this is really easy to be able to follow, because if you're following the work on the proper side of the work, you don't have to really think much about that at all. So let's begin row number 2. So let's begin row number 2. We're going to chain up 2, and as I told you, it does not count as a half double crochet. It's just a builder. So right in the same one underneath, I want you this one plus the next 3 in a row, so there will be 4 in a row, will each be a half double crochet. So let's do that. So just 4 in a row all together. So now what we have to do is that we have to create the raised look of the 2 lines that appear in between the cable work. So that's going to happen here. So what I need you to do is that I need you to count, okay, in order to keep in balance with this particular project. So what you can see here is that you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you see that? These are the posts. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the next one that you will do for the post is right directly kind of in front of it, right down here. Do you see it? So count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're going to do a front post double crochet. So wrap the hook going into the side of the post and then pull through and then pull through 2 and 2, and that just raised it up. So you know here that you have 2 in a row that are this way. So we know the next one's immediately going to be a front post double crochet. Okay, so we have to keep track now here. This is the only row that's the hardest. You got to keep count. So what I want you to do is that on the back I want you to count over 2 stitches. So do you see that where those are? 1 and 2. So these front post double crochets equals those 2. So now your first one is going to be the third one over right here. Hopefully you can see that. So the next 4 starting at that one I just showed you is going to be half double crochet. So 1, and it's right into the stitch itself, 2, 3, and 4. So now we're going to start doing the cable work crisscross. So what I want you to do is that I want you to see where these posts are standing up. I want you to count over 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so those are the 4. So what I need you to do is that we need to count over and skip over the next 4. Okay, so see 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what those equal. So then just pinch it. So the next 4 are going to be part of the cable, and we want to skip those 4 and go to the 5th one right here. Okay, so I'm just going to recap one again. So you have 4 here, that's part of this. So then I'm going to pinch it. The next 4 are part of the cable, but it's the crisscross coming in the other direction. So skip over this 4 and go to the 5th one here. And I want you to treble crochet. So wrap the hook 3 times and right into that one there. I want you to pull through. So right in the front post, treble, pull through 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. And you see you skipped over the 4 that you had to before. So now what I want you to do is I want you to treble into the next 3. So there's going to be 4 going in this direction. So wrap that hook 3 times. Go right directly into the next one so you don't have to worry about counting too much now because you've already established it. And then just front post treble. And then do it again. So you have wrapping the hook 3 times, going into the next one, pull through. And then finally do it one more time. So you're going to notice now as we get this done is that we have 4 that we skipped over. So we have them here, and the easiest way to do it, and the pattern also states as well, is the next 4 are going to be in front of this. So it's going to be reaching over to here, but it's going to be crossing over in front. So how you do that is that you have to look to the ones that you skipped. So you see 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, if you're not sure, look back to where you were before. So this is the raised one. 1, 2, 3, and 4 was part of this already. So that means these 4 are part of the crisscross. So once we have that established, you're going to come to the first one way over here, and you're going to do a front post treble there. So wrap the hook 3 times before you reach over, and then go to the very first one of the 4. And then just come in through the side. Okay, and pull through, and then treble as you normally would. So this here is going to put this stitch right in front of the other 4 you just did. See that? So we're going to wrap the hook 3 more times, and then come into the very next one. So come into the next one that's open and free, front post treble. And then we have to do the next one. So there's always going to be 4 that crosses over each other. I'm going to show you this again as we continue along this row. So do it one more time. Okay, so we did 4 in a row now that has your trebles leaning over. So you can see that these are leaning over, and what I want to point out to you, so you have the 4 that are in the back. Okay, so you can see the 4 are in the back leaning over. You can see these 4 are in front of it. So when you're looking at the chain on the top, you can see if you followed along 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So see the 4 in the back here count as part of the row. And that will make sense to you in the next round that, or next row that when we come to it. So now what we have to do is that we have to keep on moving now to continue along. So what we have to do at this point is that you have the crisscross. You can see this is the post that the one is extending into. So the first stitch is right here. Okay, so I'm just holding there for you to be able to see. So the first stitch is right here. It's not here, it's here. Okay, and you want to half double crochet 4 times in a row. So go to the next one after that. Okay, and go to the next one. So you have 4 in a row that has that. So at this point you have the raised one way over here. You have the crisscrossing cable work going on over here. You've now just put in your half double crochets. So now you have to put your raised ones here, right here, but over here. So let's do that next. So the next 2 in a row are going to be raised. How do you know which ones to go into? Just follow, see where this one is crossing over? So that one's taken. So the next 4, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 are part of this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that means this one right here, this is the 5th one, is the first one for a front post double crochet. So do that one and then the next one. And then we carry on then across. So I'm gonna speed up a little bit. So the next 4 in a row are each gonna be a half double crochet. So you've already done this now leading up to the cable turnover here. So we're just kind of repeating what you already know. So the first 4 are gonna be half double crochets. Okay, so let's review our math now. So what we need to do is determine where we're gonna crisscross over to. So we're gonna do the front post treble. So we're gonna count what we can see. So this is the raised one. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's that 4 there. The next 4 are part of the treble, or treble coming in the other direction. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have to skip over those. And so the next one here, right here, is going to be the one we crossed over to. So wrap the hook 3 times and going into that first one that I just had. And then do 3 more. So once you get the first one done, you pretty much have it established. Just take your time going across this row. This is the hardest row just to keep your counts, because once you get this established, you know exactly where they are at all times going forward. So once you have your 4 in, you have to go back and collect the other 4 that you skipped over. So again, you're just looking back. So see, this is the first one, so count back 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the first one that you're gonna cross back over. So wrap the hook 3 times and going into the first one. And then again, once you have that established, the next 3 in a row are going to be the other 3 that you need to do. So wrap the hook 3 times. The next one. And the next one. And then the final. But I can assure you, my friends, is that this is the hardest row of them all. The rest of them are all really easy because we're just establishing. So the next 4 in a row are each going to be a half double crochet. So just starting right here. Okay, see where this one's coming in? Just start right here, and I want you to half double crochet that one plus 3 more, which gives you 4 in a row once again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. and the next two are each going to be a raised front post double crochet. So just looking to where you've done. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this one right here is got to be the one that's raised up. So a front post double crochet for that one, plus its friend next door. And then the final 4 stitches, if your stitch counts are right, will each be 1 half double crochet. And I can see, remember that this chain 2 doesn't count as anything, so the last 4 are each going to be a half double crochet. And then that's it. So you just have to work your way across this whole thing from one side to another, just doing your repeat patterns in the middle, and it's going to look a little awkward right now, but once you get this established, it'll sit down flat once we begin to start doing the next row. So let's bring back the diagram and show you where you are. So for the next 3 rows, this one, and this one, so 3, 4, and 5, they're each going to be straight down double crochets in the post. So depending on what row you're working on, you have to favor the side. So as we now turn our work, so right now we're in the front side of the project, we can see the crisscross happening right here. So when we go to turn this project in the other way, we're going to be facing the back of the project. So it matters on, this is going to be a back post double crochet just like you see, and then this is a front post double crochet and a back post. So 3 rows in a row are going to be each like that, and we're going to favor the side in order to keep the work on the same side of the project. So let's just bring back the other sample. Let me just clarify that for you. So on the sample here, you can see the front side of the project. Right when we just finished row number 2, we're on the front side of the project. So when we go to turn this around now and we go to start back across this one here, we're going to be looking at the back side of the project. And you can tell that, you see how this looks kind of abnormal here? This is normal when you look at it from the back point of view. So let's turn this over, and you can see those same things that are appearing as you're going along. So you can see that there's more raised lines here. It's not the fabulous cable work that you see on the one side. So we have to pay attention to that as we're being able to follow across, because what we have to do is we have to keep all of the posts on the same side of the project in order to keep the look being consistent, just as you see. So let's begin row number 3 together. So let's begin row number 3. Like the same rule before, the chain 2 does not count as a half double crochet, and we're going to half double crochet into the next 4 that are available to you. So it's including the same one right below it. So we're going to say 1, and once you get used to this pattern, you won't need to count it, you can see it. So the first 4 are each going to be a half double crochet. So we're looking at the back side of the project, and you can tell that here because of this line that is showing up here. So what we want to do is that we want to keep those lines moving in the same direction on the same side of the project. So this time we have to make these as a back post double crochet, not a front post. So wrap the hook coming from the back side up through the project and then back out. Okay, so let me just show that again. So wrap the hook coming from the back side of the project through it and then back out, and then pull through 2 and 2, and you do that one and its friend next door. So the first 2 in a row are like that. So what that did, if I turn the work over, is that it keeps those lines moving on the same side of the project. If I would have done a front post here, this would have disappeared. So now we're going to do the next 4 in a row. They're each going to be a half double crochet each. So moving over right here, so look where they are, see where the stitches are. So coming right there, you're going to do the next 4 as half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the crisscross only happens once every 4 times. There's 3 rows of just posts, and then there's a crisscross row. So what we have to do now is that we have to maintain exactly what we just did over here. So we have to do the back post double crochet in the first 4. So make sure you get all 4 of those, and these are around the treble. So wrap the hook and go around the first treble and do a back post double crochet and do the next one. So just separate it out with your hands if you have to. So the first 4 in a row are each going to be a double crochet in the back post, and make sure you get all 4. So those are going to be good. So these 4 that are leaning over in this direction, those are going to be the next 4 that you'll do the same thing to. So wrap the hook just going around the post and pull it backward. This is creating the cable crossing over look on the other side, and I'll show you that in a second. So do those 4 also in the back post double crochet. So this whole row, whenever you have to do back post double crochet, it's all back post double crochet. There's no front post double crochet when you're doing this row, and this is row number 3. So let's turn our work, and you can see these lines here. So this is showing you that it's the back side, and on the front side you can see that you carried on to make the cable across, just like this. So the next 4 in a row, they're each going to be, see where they are? So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they're each going to be a half double crochet. And then you're back to the other 2 here that are standing out from each other. So those will be 2 back post double crochets in a row. So that keeps those lines moving on the same side of the project. So now the next 4 in a row are each going to be a half double crochet. So we're going to be doing a repeat in just a second of those cable work once again. So here's your cable work. So all 8 of these will be a back post double crochet. So just start with the first one and make it a back post double crochet. So make sure you get all 4 of them before you move on to the ones that are crossing in the other direction. Okay, so now we've got all 4 of those ones in the back done. So these 4 in the front have to be done next. So those are also back post double crochets. Just like that. So when you look at this one now, you can see it's crossing over just fine in the front side. So now the next 4 in a row are each going to be a half double crochet. And again, once you get used to this pattern, you really don't have to count. You can just physically see where you need to go. So the next 2 here, I'm going to continue to make those as back post double crochets to keep the line moving up on the other side. And then finally, as you're working your way across, you will hit this other side, and the last 4 will each be 1 half double crochet each. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And don't get confused with that chaining of 2 at the beginning to make it look like you got 5. You only have 4. So let's turn our work. So this is what it looks like here. So you can see that everything has been favored on this side of the project because you've done the back posts. So these are now raised up. The cables are turning over and starting to cross. You got coming up, and then cables and etc. going all the way down. So let's move on to row number 4. Row number 4, we're now looking at the good side of the project, and now we're going to maintain what we see. So moving up to row number 4, we're just going to put this back into my hands. We'll chain up 2, does not count as a double crochet. Coming straight down into the first 4, you're going to put in a half double crochet. So you're just going to maintain what you already have going on. It's a very, very easy pattern to remember because you can see what's going on within the stitch work underneath. So now we're going to hit our first post work like so. So now because you're looking at the good side, these have to be a front post double crochet. So maintain those. So wrap the hook coming into the side of the stitch, pulling through, and double crochet those in the front post, and do that one with the friend next door as well. So now you're keeping those on the front side of the project so it's still flat on the back. So the next 4 in a row, okay, you can see where those are. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are each going to be a half double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now these ones here, they're going to maintain exactly what you see. So starting in the first one, just make it a front post double crochet, and keep on going across, making them all a front post double crochet across all 8 of those. And so this is helping that transition for the cable look that appears in the project. So then once you get the first 4 done, continue to the other 4. So all 8 here are a front post double crochet. See the cable work, when it looks like it's turning over, it looks like it's multiple rows that do it. It's only happening on one row. It's just the other rows are taking their time to settle it down. So the next 4 in a row, okay, see where those are? So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the 4 are half double crochet. And then you're gonna run into some post work again. So these again are front post double crochet to maintain those. And then the next 4 on the other side are gonna be a half double crochet. There's gonna be 4 of them. And then you're running back into the cable as you're turning back in this direction. So what we have is that all 8 of them will be a front post double crochet. When I first started crocheting, I was looking at this kind of stitch work. I'm thinking I never could do this, but I realized that really it's so easy because it's just one row that's getting you to do that crisscross, and as long as you know your front side from the back side, it's a very easy pattern to be able to maintain without having to look back at your pattern and to being able to follow it with counting, because you can physically see the work happening right before your eyes. Okay, so the next 4 in a row are just half double crochet. And then we're going to run into our posts again that are standing up. So just make those into front post double crochet. And then the final 4 are going to be a half double crochet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our project and look at the back side of the project. And this will be this will be row number, I believe it's number I think it's going to be number 5. And if you're unsure, just look at the work and you can see that there's a crisscross going on here, and then we had a front post double crochets here, front post here. So I can see that this is row number 2, 3, and 4. So if you're ever confused, just look at this. So we're going to turn and work, and we're going to go back in the other direction. So we're now looking at the back side of the project. So we're going to chain up 2, does not count as a half double crochet, and we're going to half double crochet the first one, which is directly below it. So you do all 4 of those in the very beginning. And so now you're looking at the reverse side of the project, so the bad side of the project. So you can see that the posts are on the other side, so you want to maintain those. So make those 2 a back post double crochet to keep those posts going on the back side. And when I say back side, I mean the other side of the project that you're not looking at right now. So this keeps the posts looking good on the right side of the project. So the project that you'll see, you can see they're maintaining. So the next 4 in a row are each going to be a half double crochet. Okay, so here is your cable twist over on the other side. So these ones, all 8 of them are going to be a back post double crochet. So then that keeps the cable looking perfect on the other side, because we're looking at the wrong side of the project right now. So you can see I'm really not counting. I've got trust in myself that I'm going to do all 8, because you're just looking for the stitch work in order to do it. So once those are all done, then the next 4 in a row that you can see here, they're each going to be a half double crochet. And then there is the ones that are 2s. You can see those here. So make those a back post double crochet, just both of those, to keep that maintaining. And then the next 4 are a half double crochet each. Okay, and then these ones here are part of the cable, so you just keep making those a back post double crochet, all 8 of those, and you keep on working your way across until you get all the way to the other side. Okay, and then I got one more to go. So again, you're looking for the signs to make sure you get all of those stitches worked in, or you can count it out if you want to as well. So the next 4 in a row are each going to be a half double crochet, and you keep going all the way across in that same motion. Next 2 are the posts, so make those a double crochet in the back post again to keep maintaining. And when we turn our work now as we move up, so the last 4 are going to be half double crochet, but when we turn our work to move up the next one, we're now going to do the cable twist again. We're going to do the crossovers, and this is going to be the repeat pattern starting back at row number 2 going all the way back to number 5. So this is what it looks like at this point. So you can see it's crossed over and it's gone 3 rows back and forth in order to make up. So now what we're going to do now is revisit row number 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. And every time you start row number 2, it's going to create the cross, which gives you the look that you see here. So right here, when you see it crossing again, this is 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then crossing again. So let's begin row number 2, and then I'm just going to help you get established on this pattern. So back on the diagram, what we have here is that C6 right here, this is the repeat of row number 2. So you can see the repeat is 2, 3, 4, and 5. They do that so they can show you how it repeats again. So what we're going to do now is just move your eyes back to row number 2, and the only difference is that it's showing you that where you exactly have to go, which is kind of the same here. This is just showing you on the half double crochet row completely, but it's just showing you that you just have to play within the posts that you see that are already existing. So let's begin. So classify this as row number 2 again, and then you just keep establishing, go 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 until you get to the size that you wish on your project. So let's just review row number 2 one more time, and then the rest of it is up to you. So let's just do a repeat of row number 2, and then you're off to the races. So you're going to chain up 2, which counts as a half double, or which doesn't count as anything. The first 4 in a row will each be a half double crochet, so you already know that. So then the next 2, sorry, I dropped my stitch. So the next 2 are these posts. So you want to maintain those as you know them. So we're going to just make those a front post double crochet. And then the next 4 in a row, just as you see here, you're going to make those into a half double crochet. And then we do the crisscrossing look once again. Okay, so to do the crisscrossing look, so you can just see these posts that are raised. So this time it's really easy. So you see that you're going to skip the first 4 that are raised and go to the 5th one. So these 4 are the last half. So these are the front half, these are the last half. So go to the front, the first one of the last half, and just wrap the hook 3 times and going around the front post of that one. And then do the other 3 that are after that. So wrap the hook 3 times, going into the next one. And this is creating the look of the cables crossing over each other. Okay, so now that you did those 4, you got to come back and get the other ones that you've already crossed, that you already skipped. So wrap in the hook 3 times, go to the first one of the 4 around the front post, and do that one plus 3 more in a row. Go to the next one, go to the next one, and finally just go to the last one there that is in the group, and then you just keep maintaining what you already know going across. So the 4 that are in next, you can see them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, those are going to be your half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So continue to make those stand off. So just make them a front post double crochet. And just carry on what you already know. So the first 4 here are going to be half double crochet. You're going to crisscross, so you see there's a group of 8. So the first half you're going to skip, you're gonna front post treble into this one, the next one, the next one, the next one, and then come back and pick these up and then treble across. So you can see that this just created the crisscross look of the section coming up and over and sinking down, and then this one coming back up. So when you look at the exact same sample here, it's just a visual look of things just kind of crossing over top of each other, but it's just this crisscrossing line that creates that. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. Hopefully you enjoy this pattern, and until next time, have a great day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.